I suppose it looks a little silly. Me, a thorn, standing up here in front of you good people, but this is the witness stand, and I have been asked to give my account of the death of Jesus. And I can tell you it was terrible. I can't imagine how human beings could treat another person that way. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm way ahead of my story. I suppose I should introduce myself. You probably don't talk to thorns very often. After all, I'm considered to be just a pain. The general opinion is that we are worthless and have no purpose in living, though there are so many plants that have the beauty I wish I had. They smell good and they look pretty. I just stick out like the proverbial sore thumb. I'm useless. I don't make the countryside look pretty. I'm not even food for the animals. In fact, the animals try to avoid me. I often cause them pain and even infection. What good is that? I am worthless. No one cares about me. People take my name in vain if they ever talk about me at all. If someone has a nagging problem, they say they have a thorn in the flesh. Yes, indeed. I'd be the first to admit it. I am worthless. Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't come here to hear me feeling sorry for myself. Let's start at the beginning. I was just hanging around on the vine, catching the breeze, when I saw some soldiers coming across the field. And they drew their swords, and as they got closer, I thought to myself, oh no, this is going to be it. Today is the last day of what was supposed to be the rest of my life. And I was right. They hacked and chopped and cut many of the vines down. The branch I was on was one of those that got cut down, and all of them were carried back to the barracks. I was surprised that they didn't just set us on fire out in the field. That's what people usually did to us. They must have something special in mind, I thought to myself. And the next thing I remember is someone taking all of our branches and twisting us into a circle. We were being woven and wrapped in and out. I was getting dizzy, but there we were, a circle. As the men were working, I heard one of them say, a crown? Wait a minute. You don't think they're taking us into a circle to make a crown out of us, ugly, mean, worthless thorns? But they did. And when they were finished, the soldiers took the crown and carried us out into the courtyard. Wow. Here I am, crude, rough, despised, a crown. Taken right into the middle of the most important government building in all of Jerusalem. I stretched out as far as I could to see what was going on. It was a big crowd. And there in the courtyard, in the center of it all, stood a homeless preacher on trial for blasphemy. And we were carried over to him. And as we got closer, I had a strange feeling come over me. I can't explain it, but I felt it. Here I had been cut down, twisted and bent, dried out. I should be getting weaker and weaker. After all, my roots were still back way out there in the field. But I was feeling stronger and better instead of weaker and worse. I can't understand anything that's happened so far. I'm not going to try now. Two soldiers carefully took us in their hands, held us high for all to see. Some soldiers put a robe on that accused preacher. They laughed at him. They jeered at him. Would you believe? Some of them even spit at him. I mean to tell you, people hate thorns, but no one ever spit at me. And then the soldiers holding us moved the crown towards his head. I got a glimpse of his eyes as we were being lifted towards his face. They showed love and caring that made me want to care about him, if a thorn could care. But then the men brutally shoved us onto his head. We were pushed into his scalp with hatred and ridicule, driving the thorns deeper and deeper. How could they do this? How could people be so cruel to another person? And yet, as impossible as it is to describe what I felt, the crown was being placed on his head. I was one of the first thorns to touch his skin. At that instant, a feeling shot through me quite unlike anything I had ever felt before. There was a sense of life and living that surpassed even being attached to my roots back in the field. It was different. This was new life flowing through me. It caused me to feel warm and even soft. Can you imagine that? A harsh, sharp thorn feeling warm and soft. Here I was, inflicting pain on him, and he was causing warmth and love and peace to flow into me at the same time. Wow. But it was wonderful. He returned love for pain. He gave warmth even when surrounded by a blizzard of hate. He poured out his blood of suffering in order to make a worthless thorn like me feel warm. And that's it. That's the way it happened, at least the way I witnessed it. But I can't tell you all of this without making one last comment. I envy you people, how blessed you are. I know now that that blood that spilled onto me has washed you clean and changed you too. How blessed you are that you are invited to live with him, and you will live forever. And by the way, if you find these changes in me difficult to believe, let me just ask you one question. Have you ever noticed that some thorn bushes now have roses on them. Amen.